I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute. I know that most people here want to hear me speak on this bill.
Okay, go ahead.
I left yesterday. There was a lot of misconception. This bill is not about immunity. I know the first server was fired yesterday by my friend. Later, when I left yesterday, I got to understand that he was a former presidential aspirant. So I got to understand where he had the courage to do that. You know, when you run for presidency before, you become very courageous. So the point is that this bill is not about immunity for judicial officers. No. As a matter of fact, I am probably one of the most strident opponents of immunity in our Constitution, under Section 308. I have a bill on that separately. That section is preposterous under a constitutional democracy. There is no reason on earth why a governor, deputy governor should have immunity. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. But that is a different issue now. This bill proposes, they say context is everything. The title says, an act to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act to insulate judicial officers from prosecution before being, the context of this bill is the tribunal. And the backstory to this bill is what happened in 2018, when a president weaponized or repurposed the tribunal to remove a sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria. This bill is meant to cure that, to stop that from happening again. The point is that if you want to remove anybody, judicial officer, they have laid down provisions in the Constitution, Section 292, for heads of court, like CGN or Chief Justice of the States. You write to the National Assembly, the Senate, for instance, and then upon their address, you can remove a Chief Justice of Nigeria. Address supported by two-thirds majority of members. The president then knew that he couldn't have that kind of support because the basis for the Chief Justice removal were tenors. They didn't exist at all. They made up, they came up with, trumped up charges and made up, issues overnight, and then went to the back door to remove a serving Chief Justice through a tribunal. That tribunal, for me, it's a rogue institution. It should never be under the presidency. That tribunal also be under judicature. So part of what I'm arguing going further is to remove it from the presidency and make it a part of judicature. Okay? Where they can be under the control and discipline of NJC. You cannot have an arm of government have its own courts under its own armpit that they can use to witch hunt, to harass officials of state. That kind of judiciary they don't like. So we have to cure that. But this bill, like I said before, is specific to the tribunal to insulate judicial officers from being dragged to the tribunal to be removed through the back door. There's only one way you can remove a judicial officer, which is through through Section 292 of the Constitution. So if you have a grouse judicial officer, you write to. Yesterday you made a point about the judicial principle of nemo judex. Let me just say something on that one. If this bill were anything other than what I'm saying, and judicial officers can be prosecuted while they are serving, what you are trying to establish, is as Speaker yesterday, will be the exact position. They will be able to, while serving, potentially sit upon their own cases. But all over the world, and I could provide copious instances here, all over the world where you have functional democracy, you cannot try a judge without first removing him. But here, that's not the position. In the time I refer to, Supreme Court justices were facing trial. They were being tried. So it's not a blanket thing about don't try judges. No, it's about not using specifically the Code of Conduct Tribunal to witch hunt them. That tribunal has been instrumentalized by the executive. If you don't stop it, it will happen again.
Okay, we have given enough time to this. Let's hear other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for laying the foundation to the debate. I think
before a judge is put to trial or to the tribunal, there are administrative procedures through which judges are tried by the NJC. And I don't think I've seen a judge that is taking the code of conduct and removed on the ground of that. So I don't know, it amounts to trying to give immunity to the back door. I'm sorry, my chairman, but what is not clear is what is going to be the role of the NJC in trial of a serving judge before sacked if found guilty. So I don't think it is an issue of executive trying to witch hunt. We should just try as much as possible to see that things are properly done so that Nigerians will not see us just coming up with frivolities. And I believe that procedure for trying judges is vested even in the NJC, with due respect, sir. So in the light of this, I don't think this request for immunity for a serving judge, by the time you do it for a serving judge, definitely civil servants, doctors, everybody will start coming and requesting for immunities. The reason why immunities in the first place were there is not to distract those who are giving immunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ambassador.
Is to protect them from only code of conduct rule, not ordinary court. So it is never an immunity. Let us protect them, but we must add that utmost good faith must be seen to be displayed in whatever they are doing, so that we must protect them. Let them be fair to everybody. Stand on your feet. Protect the masses. The masses will protect you. Not when we are fighting for you, you turn around and fight out against us. It is what you ask for that will eventually come to you. So, Mr. Speaker, I align myself to protecting them from all these shenanigans. I so submit.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from...
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, if our constitution, which is the ground norm, can grant immunity to the executive, particularly or in specifics, the president, the vice president, the governor, and the office of the deputy governor, I submit that granting or allowing judicial officers to be excluded pursuant to this bill is something that must enjoy the support of this House.
So you are taking us back to immunity?
No, sir.
Because the argument, he's saying...
Let me distinguish this.
He's saying, let me come, please. He's saying this is different from immunity.
So let me distinguish.
And you are saying if we are giving immunity to president and vice president, we should also give immunity to CJN. So what happens to Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Senate President, Deputy Senate President? Because we are three arms of government.
Your Excellency,
because the argument seems to project that we should have immunity for all the leaders of the arms of government. So if you want to come with a bill on that, I think the House will also like to hear you.
Your Excellency, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to make a distinction, sir.
Okay.
Immunity is even in the extreme case that somebody is not tried, he enjoys this immunity pursuant to section 308 of the Constitution. Now we are saying that a judicial officer should be exempted. And Mr. Speaker, the position is clear. It is because of political manipulation that we must exclude judicial officers from being tried in the Code of Conduct Tribunal. What I'm saying is, if we can grant immunity in our constitution to the executive, why can't we allow judicial officers to conduct their judicial office without this distraction? The judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and we have been witnesses to what happens in this country. They suffer media trial, the reputations are damaged, and at the end of it, we find out that they are even innocent. So we should allow them do their job by supporting this kind of bill, so that judicial officers may be insulated from the troubles that come with these political shenanigans. Mr. Speaker, that's my position.
Thank you. Communicator. No.
I'm Honorable Kaleja Adeboye Paul, PhD. I represent Ajeromi Federal Constituency, the mini Nigeria, from Lagos State, the state of aquatic splendor. I rise again today to also still want this House to be very careful. One, I still ride on the fact that
Are you warning the House?
I'm advising that we do not stand here and pass a bill that will be inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution of Nigeria. Because no matter how you hide and say whether it's immunity or no immunity, the fact of the case remains that you are inhibiting the process of judicial adjudication. Let's examine, why was the Code of Conduct Tribunal established? For what purpose? And then in establishing the Code of Conduct Tribunal, there were things that were considered as necessary for our democracy. So if you ask any judicial officer not to be allowed to appear before the Code of Conduct, you're already inhibiting process of judicial adjudication. Secondly, I also like to dwell on the fact that immunity, whether in whatever name or in whatever manner, is immunity. Immunity is defined as obligating, preventing, excusing, disallowing, allowing people to enter privileges of not being subjected to prosecution. So whatever way you define it, this bill is going to excuse these people. And I submit finally to say that the position raised by our dear colleague as to the fact that the man who raised, our colleague who raised the motion order motion, to say that we should not allow this bill to stay through. I submit also that we should allow this to come in whatever manner you can protect the judicial officers, but not necessarily have to immune them. Thank you.
Let's hear from Honorable Sam.
Knowing the position of immunity as enshrined in Section 308 of the Constitution, I don't think it is in relation to that. What we know, the history of Code of Conduct in this country, it was a creation of the military. And the military created a caveat whereby they will still hold on to determine what will happen in the judiciary. So they created Code of Conduct with that caveat. And then that caveat was exercised by a democratic process, which was quite abnormal, where your Chief Justice of the Federation was not subjected to a process of punishment as a public officer, was taken directly to Code of Conduct without getting any, without being reviewed by NJC, which recommended for his appointment. So this is the lacuna this amendment is trying to create, not to give the judicial officers any immunity, but trying to streamline the process in accordance with the provisions of Section 292 of the Constitution. Before you remove or before you take a judicial officer to a court or to for any infraction that he has committed, you follow the process. Go to the NJC. NJC will investigate the matter. If the matter is found to be criminal or civil, he will face the Code of Conduct Bureau. So the process is followed, then he is removed. Just the case of Onenge. No process was followed. It was just by fiat because the law gave that gap. So that's what this amendment is trying to seek. It's trying to amend certain mistakes that were created over a period of time. It was military and then...
So can one say that The role of the NJC is being usurped by the Code of Conduct Bureau.
No, it's being usurped by the executive.
Because if the NJC is in place with the mandate to carry out investigation if there's any infraction,
Yes.
in the course of exercising the mandate of the judicial officers, their results should be what should guide any decision thereafter.
Yes.
So when they have exercised that mandate, and at the end of the day, it results to relieving the judicial officer from that position, Code of Conduct can go after them.
That's right. That's it. That's what this amendment is seeking.
This is what you're supposed to project.
Yes.
My understanding, that is what I understand that you're trying to push out.
That's the issue.
Yeah, he's saying allow NJC to do their job. Once they are done, we should have confidence in them to do a good job. If they give an unbiased decision that relieves a judicial officer of his duty, then you can by that time activate the mandate of the Code of Conduct Bureau or any agency to go after them, because a friction of time does not work with regards to maybe crime committed while in office, so they can still maintain an action against that individual, but not as a judicial officer. I hope I'm not doing your debate for you. I think that is the summary of what he's trying to say. So let me now put the question. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.